One of the most common questions I get regarding plants is, what kind of plants can I put in my 10-gallon aquarium? So today's video, I'm going to suggest 3 of the best, easiest plants that you can put in any 10-gallon aquarium. The 10-gallon aquarium is a great tank. A lot of people start off with a 10-gallon aquarium when they enter the hobby. Even if you've been in the hobby a long time, you may have one or many 10-gallon tanks. It's a great size. They come in kit tanks. They're really great. They can fit a lot of different plants, fish, a lot of different aquascaping options. But there are 3 plants that I will almost always fall back on that I can put in any 10-gallon aquarium. The first of which is my favorite plant, Anubis, but only certain varieties would I put in a 10-gallon, because even when you get them super tiny, little tissue culture plants, you may think they're adorable and they are very slow growing. Anubis is a slow grower. However, as it keeps growing and growing and growing, say like Anubis gigantea, Anubis coffeefolia, Anubis, there's a lot of different Anubis that can grow very, very tall out the top of your tank and maybe a little too large for your comfort level. There are a few different varieties that I would recommend in your 10-gallon tank that will stay less than, say, 8 inches tall. The smallest one would be, of course, you can put Anubis nana petite. You can put a bunch of them in there. You can attach them all along some driftwood, some rocks. You can fill your tank with Anubis nana petite in pretty much any size tank. But I like Anubis gold coin. That'll max out maybe about 4 or 5 inches. It's a really, really cute little plant. And if you want to get a little bit larger and you want maybe a longer leaf, because gold coin is kind of a rounder leaf. If you want something a little bit more narrow, I like Anubis friseri. It's almost kind of got a little slightly ruffly leaves. The roots grow really long. I really like friseri for some odd reason, for the roots. Really cool. And then Congensis is another one that looks somewhat similar to friseri. And then Anubis nana, which is probably one of the most common Anubis that you will see. It's got kind of more of a sort of rounder leaf, but it's a very common Anubis that you'll find pretty much anywhere, and it's a great mid-size. A lot of these Anubis you can use in the foreground, you can use in the mid-ground, depending on how you want your aquascape to go, but it's a great choice. It's a very easy plant to keep alive. It's very low light. You don't need, with any plant that I will recommend, you never need high light or any CO2. Super easy, and it's just a beautiful kind of like a large bold leaf plant. My second choice is Crypts. It's a large family. Again, not all Crypts are created equal, and some of them get very, very large. And in a lot of our larger tanks in the basement, we have a lot of Crypts that are very mature that take up a good deal of even larger tanks, like the 40 gallons, over 20 gallons, just a whole bunch of different larger size tanks that a Crypt will very easily fill up. And it will cause you some maintenance. Keep that in mind if you do choose larger Crypts. I do tend to occasionally choose larger Crypts that I know that will get larger, but I do tend to aquascape and change my aquascapes a little bit more frequently than some people may know. So the ones that I'm going to recommend, you can put in a 10-gallon, no problem. You don't have to worry about it overtaking your tank. These will stay relatively small. Like some of the smallest ones stay under 4 inches, 4 to 5 inches, somewhere around there. You've got Crypt parva that's probably may even stay closer to 2 inches. It's one of my favorite plants. I love Crypt parva. And then also there is Crypt lucens. That one gets a little bit larger, maybe closer to 3-4 inches. Crypt Becchetti, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful Crypt. Stays very small, maybe 3 to 5 inches, still on the relatively small size. You're talking less than half of the size, the height of a 10-gallon tank. And then I will throw this out there, just so you know, if one of the most common Crypts I think that you can find anywhere would be the Wenti green, bronze or brown. Very common. You see them at the Petco, the PetSmarts online. You see them everywhere. Those can get up to 12 inches tall, so even if you're getting them as a small little tissue culture, just keep that in mind that they can get as tall as your 10-gallon. Now for my last easy plant that I would recommend for any 10-gallon tank, I can't forget the Java moss. Java moss is a great plant that I'm really trying to use more often. It's actually very, very versatile, and it's pretty much, I think it's probably known as the easiest aquatic plant of all times. So what's so great about Java moss? Well, you can size control it very easily. So even in a 10-gallon, if you get too much of it, very easy to break some off, put in another tank, whatever you want to do with it. And it's super versatile. You can actually even cut it up in the little pieces, super glue it, or don't cut it up and super glue it. You can super glue it to rocks, driftwood. That's how a lot of people like to use it, is just attach it or tie it along some driftwood. Looks really cool, kind of more like it almost resembles like what I think like an algae look out in a very natural sort of feel, and it will kind of mound if you tie it to, say, a rock or something like that, and it'll just kind of grow upon itself. It's just super versatile, and it can add a lot of interest to your tank, and it's super easy to take care of for even beginners. So those are 3 super easy plants to put in any 10-gallon aquarium. Let me know, are there any go-to plants that you will always recommend and also use in your 10-gallon tanks? What do you think? But hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.